All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the January 26th meeting of the Akron Rotary Club. I love to see the response of my colleagues here in my office when I ring the bell. We have a lot of glass front panels, so I can see them all jump. They know that it must be Tuesday, and it's a Rotary meeting. So please welcome everybody. Doug Kohl is going to join us today as our invocator to start with, and then I'll show you some other roles he's got going.
Thank you, Dr. Rob. Well, let's, one of the things I thought I'd share today was a devotion I've used for many years in the way of a poem for our invocation today. A poem by Edgar Guest. It's called, I'd Rather See a Sermon. I'd rather see a sermon than hear one any day. May tell the way. The eye's a better pupil and more willing than the ear. Fine counsel is confusing, but example's always clear. And the best of all preachers are the ones who live their creeds. For to see good put in action is what everybody needs. I soon can learn to do it if you'll let me see it done. I can watch your hands in action, but your tongue may too fast run. And the lecture you deliver may be very wise and true, but I'd rather get my lessons by observing what you do. For I might misunderstand you and the high advice you give, but there's no misunderstanding how you act and how you live. Lord, thank you for this chance to be together with these friends and associates. Bless our time together and our fellowship together. Amen.
Thank you, Doug. And now we have our Pledge of Allegiance. Please join with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic
for which it stands,
one nation
under God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. May we have the four-way test slide, Cheryl? Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? And will it be beneficial to all concerned? So today's greeter and invocator and speaker is our own Doug Kohl. He signed up in different days, not realizing that it was a collision. So our greeter is going to be David Hall along with me as we'll go through. So we'll start by looking for guests in the audience. And if you are a guest, please unmute and introduce yourself. And I'm going to count on David. Did you see any guests come in?
There is one that just joined us, Mr. McCauley. Okay. He is just logging in.
I was going to say, I didn't see anybody on the list, but he's not on there yet.
Nope, he's just coming on.
All right, so Mr. McCauley, welcome to our Rotary meeting. If you would unmute and introduce yourself.
I still see him in the participants, Dr. Rob.
I see his name with a microphone that's muted, and he said, "Sorry, no microphone today." Okay, well, welcome.
Okay.
I will say on behalf of Ryan that he is in the membership pipeline. You know, I had a nice chat last week, and we're looking forward to moving him along.
Well, good job, Tom. You didn't scare him off. He showed up here today. I'm proud of you. Thank you.
He doesn't know me very well.
Nah, it's all good. Any other guests, please unmute yourself and let us be known. Let you be known. Any ambassadors, anybody who has spent time at other clubs recently or club training events like PETS?
Vivian and I attended a presentation by Mark Mahoney and John Huco and a couple of others on the report on the Rotary International Foundation, updates on polio, and a lot of good information.
Well, thank you. Anybody else? Cheryl, you're usually up for some activity that you've been in another club doing.
Oh, I have just been working on getting ready for All Ohio Pets, and we have a Pets 2 training coming up in about a month. That's all I've been. I have not been to any other clubs this week, though.
Okay, well, not hearing of any other ambassadors, I'd like to move to a trivia question. I know I still owe a coffee card to Steve Bowie and Dr. Doug for their participation. And today, I was thinking a lot about the fact that the Chili Open's coming up, and we've got Doug talking to us from the foundation, and our camp is a big part of the foundation's activities. So I was going to query this crowd and see for a Starbucks, what year did we actually buy the camp? Now, this is tricky because there's a year that we started running the camp, then there's the year that we bought the camp, and then there's the year that we were fully operational. So I'm going to make this tough. You got to split the 3 dates and give me the year.
Can I guess?
Sure.
I'm going to guess 1921.
No, that's a good guess, but you're off. Jack is coming forward. I don't know. I think we got a ringer, Jack.
Jack actually bought the camp, didn't he?
1923.
Well, according to our website, it's not 1923. We did operate a camp in 1924 when we rented property from the Y for 10 days. So Jack, if you want to, as the historian, if you want to correct our website.
No, 24 is correct. I was thinking that they had done a little separate deal, but no, 24 is correct.
Well, 24 is the date that we actually operated. We had a camp. 1925 is actually the year that Akron Rotary purchased the camp.
Oh,
and then
I'm sorry, yes.
And then we weren't fully operational until 1926. So we'll be coming up on a pretty big anniversary, and I'm going to buy myself a cup of coffee. Thank you, Jack. Okay, so the icebreaker that's going to get the rest of you engaged is, speaking of the camp, what is the best day or best event that you've spent at the camp? Or for those of you newbies, we'll expand that to Portage Lakes. What is a memorable moment at the camp or Portage Lakes? So Jack, I'm going to let you start since I put you on the spot earlier.
Well, I think the Thursday night events with the kids is always the highlight. It's just, you see what it's all about.
I agree. Sandy, can you share with us some event?
So I have a lot of great memories at camp, but I think that the best was the very first gala after the camp had been, recreated. That was just a magical night, and Jeff was with me, and I was so proud. It's just amazing. That first gala was awesome.
All right. June Ring, can you share your memories of camp or Portage Lakes or both?
Yeah, certainly numerous memories of the camp. And I think this one maybe even predates my Rotary days. I'm a little foggy, but had taken our church youth group over to be there to unload luggage on an incoming afternoon. And that was a really great opportunity to just really meet the families and the kiddos and the parents as they were coming in. So that, among many other times of being out at camp, that kind of sticks in my mind.
Dan Reimenschneider, can you share a moment?
Well, I have two. The first, and no offense to longtime Rotarians, but the first time I was ever at camp was on a summer cookout that Rotary Club used to have in September. And I sat at a table with Lance Kima's father, Tom Gepfert. It was a significantly older crowd. My wife, I went to introduce her to Tom Geffert, and he kind of took the lead and looked down at his name tag and said, "That's right, I'm Tom Gepfert. That nice lady gave me a label so that I could remember my name." And then for the rest of the night, he had a piece of corn stuck on his cheek from eating corn on the cob. And my wife was just like, "What did you join? It seems like these people are all old." So but, that was funny. And then when my son was in middle school, I coached the football team for Immaculate Heart of Mary. And we had 28 kids show up to rake leaves in the fall on a Saturday. And we made pretty good short order of it. And then I bought them McDonald's on the way back. And I basically told them they could order whatever they wanted. I was a little shocked at the price of McDonald's food by the time I fed 24, 28 boys or whatever it was. So, but we had a good time. I remember having a good time with that. So.
Great. Thanks for sharing, Dan. Laura Smiley, I know you don't have a camera on today, but I heard rumor that you are available and have a story you'd like to share or two.
Hi guys, sorry that my camera's not working today. So I got two favorite memories of camp, and they're both the summer of 1995 when I was a camp counselor there. So every week at camp has a theme, and one of the themes that summer was a royalty week. And so there were lots of princesses and princes and kings and queens at camp. Well, I was helping out in the kitchen, and the woman, Jeannie, who worked in the kitchen, who is absolutely spectacular. I hope that most of you have had the chance to meet her because she spent years at the camp cooking. I think Dan refers to her as his second mom. She asked me to help her make a wedding cake. And so I got to make a wedding cake for a royal wedding at camp. And everyone was dressed in their finest. A lot of it was toilet paper and tissue paper and colored beads. But it was just a really, really magical evening at camp. And I was like 17 years old, I think. And then my second memory would be from that same summer. And it is a big reason why I joined Rotary and am such a part of the club now, is watching a child that is predominantly wheelchair bound in a kayak or in a canoe for the first time ever. The expression that comes over their face is pretty serious. So, and I hope I never forget those memories, because that was really what made camp a solid piece of my heart, was that summer.
Well, it sounds pretty poignant. I don't think you're going to forget those memories. No. Thanks for sharing, Laura. John Margita, I think you've been at camp a couple of times. So what are your memories?
I have, Dr. Rob. I have some very nice memories. Most of all, just being very much touched by the kids right away, the adults right away with disabilities, just how much they love being there and seeing the smiles on their face, and how it meant a lot to be there. I'm just really was taken away by that every time I go out there. So, but I have some great memories of the camp. Growing up in the Portage Lakes area, it's really nice to always go back there. But I just have some really nice times. I can see why people are mesmerized by the camp, and I mean, these kids and adults out there that need help, and they can really move you. So that's the most thing that comes most to mind.
Well, thanks, John. Mela, I think you probably know where the camp is, don't you know, Mela?
I do know where the camp is, and I will have to tell you, every day at camp is the best day. When we quarantined last year and we had to leave camp, it was really hard to work at home and not be here, because I am so motivated when I am here at camp. Just seeing, this place, this magical place and how it has evolved. And to think the best things I it always touches me is to think that this club started this camp. This club, 2 Rotarians started this camp in 1924 and, you know, ran it and volunteered without a paid staff for many years, and how it has evolved today because of Rotary, because of our camp board, because of the foundation. So it's a great place, and I can't thank you all enough for all the support you continue to give Rotary Camp.
It's easy to give support for something that is so foundational and we believe in. Okay, well, let's move along. Thank you for your great memories, and thanks again for indulging me with these icebreakers that I impose on you and cold call you to speak up. Cindy Kane would have been proud. None of you even hesitated, and I didn't hear any ands or ums as you were speaking. So you must have already snuck into that Toastmasters module. As far as announcements, I actually have to continue to go with our concept that we're 12 days away from our 31st annual Chili Open. It's just unbelievable. I get excited just thinking about it, recognizing it's going to be a little different this year. I still think it's incredible what Wanda and Jeff and the team have been able to accomplish, but we're not done yet. We still have 12 days, and we all know that many of us are a little bit prone to procrastination, and we're used to walking in at the day of the event and saying, oh, by the way, here's all the tickets that I sold, and here's my dollars, and can we put it in the barrel? And regretfully, that's one of the pieces that we're not going to be able to do in real time. So consequently, I really need all of you to buy your tickets or send in the money of the tickets that you've already sold, and go on and touch your folks in your communications, whether it's on your email or your social media feed, to get people to step up and give us a little extra this year, because we need a little extra this year because we're lacking that in-person touch. Thanks to those of you who have already done your parts with sponsorships, camperships, raffle tickets, silent auction items, liquor for the wheelbarrow, wine for the wine fridge. We currently have raised $218,000, and we have ways to go because we knew there was a pandemic, but why would we settle for less than we've done before? Our goal was 300 grand, and it's within reach, but we all have to kind of do our part, reach out to those Rotarians that you've not seen for a while and say, hey, did you sell your raffle tickets? If you didn't, please get that done, because we're getting closer, but we're not within reach of our goal yet. We have 12 days to go. Dan Reimenschneider and Thane Billow are still in need of $500 camperships. So I think somebody has a birthday cut up this week, so we could give some camperships in honor of a youngster's birthday who's only going to be a youngster for another year, I think. Is that right, Thane?
Well, when do you officially stop being a youngster?
When you're a year older than me, Thane.
Oh, that's good answer. Yeah, we're forever young, Dr. Rob.
That's absolutely. And David Miller needs help with the raffle tickets. That one's kind of critical because we really do have to have a critical mass to be able to have the car. And I know the people that I have sold or gifted tickets to are really excited because they really think their kid's going to win this car this year. And if the car's not there, it's going to be a hard sell next year. So please help Dave and keep that going. Nicole Major and Linda Farkas are still looking for auction donations for the online auctions. And rumor has it Nicole is willing to buy your alcoholic beverages to put into the wagon of cheer if you don't choose to come by the camp and drop it off. I know I'm coming up either Wednesday or Thursday to do a little work at the camp, and I have some liquor in my car that I keep hoping I don't have a speeding ticket, and they realized I have bottles of liquor in my back seat. It's right next to your certificate, Terry, from the award that you got as the unsung hero. So I'm going to say it's part of your award just in case. No, that's not true. That's not the truth. I can't break our rules, at least not on video. So I think, the Chili Open is an event we all know and love. I couldn't find my cap today. That's what I was looking for, but I had a 7 o'clock meeting in the hospital. So I will dig that out for our meeting next week. Any other announcements?
A question for you.
Yes.
Vivian and I were thinking about a $500 campership, but in the situation that the car is in, would we be better off to buy another $500 tickets?
I will look at Wanda Whipke here and put the chair on the spot. What's your preference, Wanda?
Ultimately, I don't know. I mean, as long as we gather the dollars, I think we're good. But I'm going to actually give this to Mela.
Thanks. Thanks.
Another icebreaker. This is good.
Another icebreaker. Jack, if you want to put it towards raffle tickets so that we can meet that $40,000, that would be great.
Dan Reimenschneider has his
We have
hand up.
we have to raise, a minimum of $40,000 to get the car for free. Now, I'm sure that we will have conversations with Jerry Vanderveer, and given the pandemic, if we get awfully close, I can't imagine that Jerry's going to be like, no, because he has been so generous and so helpful with all the videos that he has done.
Dan Reimenschneider, you had your hand up.
Yeah, I would suggest buying the raffle tickets also, primarily because if you win, you can donate it back to the.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, and Jack won that car last year.
Vivian just upped the ante to $1,000 on raffle tickets.
All right.
Thank you. Oh my goodness.
That is awesome.
And then maybe you'll win Snowmania too.
Win what?
Snowmania.
Oh, yes, sure.
Yeah,
So
bring on the snow.
Judge Michael wants to know where should she send her raffle ticket money? Is that to you, Mela, at the camp?
Yes, you should send it at the camp, and I would send it as soon as possible, given the mail.
Good point.
So yeah, if you want to mail a check, make it payable to Akron Rotary Camp and send it soon. Or if you need us to pick it up, I'm happy to do that as well.
Mela, do you have a list of who you've received in case somebody doesn't know that their mail didn't make it to you?
I don't have it in front of me, and Wanda has it as well.
That would be nice to publish, perhaps.
Yeah.
Even in an email.
We're doing
We'll take that offline.
With that said, there are, we have a lot of generous Rotarians. So a lot of them are saying, hey, I did my sponsorship. I'm not able to buy my tickets. I'll push ticket sales. So I don't really want to put anybody, on the spot.
Well, let me know if mine got there, please.
I'm sure they did. I'll double check.
I don't know. I just got mail from December 14th yesterday. So.
As did I. It was pretty incredible getting holiday cards from people that you thought forgot about you and realize they mailed them out 2 weeks before I did.
The package that I requested on behalf of my kids from Santa arrived last week. So apparently there was quite a storm in the North Pole.
Yeah, it's probably that's a good way to frame that.
It was postmarked December 11th. So.
Okay, well, we heard a lot of very positive stories here, but I didn't hear anybody that was that happy yet. So who's happy? Time for some happy dollars.
We've got 6 happy dollars. Her sister Shirley Ann Nugent, who was one of the very early camp directors, and she got her education in special education for handicapped kids on a Rotary scholarship to Australia. We also have $1 for that Children's Hospital. Vivian chuckles every night when she sees them. They're great. And the final $4 is in remembrance on February 3rd each year, the first Sunday of February has been designated as For Chaplain Sunday. And at this time when our country is so divided and people are pulling back, I think to remember the story of these 4 chaplains, they were all first lieutenants on the troop ship Dorchester when it was torpedoed on the way to Greenland. And there were not enough life jackets, and the 4 chaplains gave their life jackets to troops and stayed on deck praying and singing. There was a Methodist minister, a Dutch Reformed minister, a Catholic priest, and a Jewish rabbi. And I think they exemplified the highest call of all religions and of dedication to others.
Well, thank you, Jack. Steve Bowie's happy.
Yes, good afternoon. I just want to acknowledge 5 of our wonderful fellowship on this call today. And I could easily say a lot about everybody, but I want to acknowledge I've got 5 people for $5. And Cheryl Warren is what I would classify as the Rotary wizard, and what a tremendous help to us. And with being involved in pets and all the different president-elects, we are fortunate to have her in our club. So thank you, Cheryl. Secondly, Dan Reimenschneider, the gentle giant, and all of the hard work he's done with the foundation. Just a tremendous man. And Dan, so appreciate you. Additionally, Katy Miller. Katy, most people don't realize this. Well, maybe you do, but her involvement with all of the social activity and the social events, that's not easy unless you're a one-woman party. And Katy is a one-woman party, and she knows how to bring it. Additionally, John Margita. John has been just a dear friend in so many ways, and helping me and encouraging me as my presidency approaches here in July. And so thank you, John. And then lastly, Doug Kohl, who is today's speaker. And Doug has been back in the club for just about 3 years now, after he retired from his faithful, competent work at the YMCA. But Doug has become a dear friend and a tremendous man with a huge heart for our city and for our club. And look forward to hearing what you have to share today, Doug. So God bless.
Katy?
Well, thank you for the kind words, Steve Bowie. I am a one-person party person, for sure. I have a couple happy dollars. One is I'm so happy I got to see Mela yesterday in person, and it was actually like quite emotional, I think, for both of us, because we haven't seen each other in person. I took our silent auction donations out to the camp, and we stood about 10, 15 feet apart, and we was able to get caught up. And I came home and I told my husband, like, I got to see a person in person. So that was super fun. And then another happy dollar, my middle daughter, Lindsay, who's the mother of my grandchildren, just after being unemployed for a year and enjoying a year of being stay-at-home mom with Robbie, just got a great new job as an SEO manager for a digital marketing company based out of Philadelphia. And so we're really thrilled that in this time that she was still able to find some employment there. So everything's going well, and we're very happy about those things. So thank you.
Nice. Thanks for sharing. Anybody else happy? Cheryl?
Yes, thank you. Well, thank you for your kind words, Steve. And I will honestly say that Rotary has saved my life during COVID. It is very true. It has given me even more of a purpose. So I do appreciate your kind words. But today I am going to recognize a fellow Rotarian as well with $5, and that is Sandy Narragon. For those of you who may not have seen it, Sandy received a recognition for being one of the Cleveland's 500, and that is truly an honor to be recognized for. So Sandy, congratulations. And she even mentioned Rotary in her little blurb that she was allowed to give. And so Sandy, you're the best. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Cheryl. It means the world. Thank you. And thanks to everyone else who sent me texts and emails. I appreciate it.
We're proud of you, Sandy. Dr. Doug?
Okay, I'll throw in 10 happy dollars because for the first time since the pandemic started and everything shut down suddenly, I had a live in-person class at the university right there in that room outside my office door. So, so it was nice to see a whole class full of people, 22.
Oh, that's exciting. And I'll wrap up our happy dollars with 10 happy dollars. I have 4 here for Steve Bowie. It's good to see your smiling face, looking healthy and fit as ever after the ordeals that you had to do in isolation. So we're glad to see that you don't appear to be any worse for the wear. I have another couple of happy dollars for Sandy and Aragon because many of you know you've seen repeated emails from Sandy to help us get our data ready for the club assembly that is going to be February 2nd. It's our next meeting. So our next week's speaker is you. We get to hear what you think we need to do with our strategic plan as we move forward in these next 6 months and these next couple of years. I have a couple happy dollars for the council of presidents, which we're pulling together the future leadership of the club so that we can have a really transition and work to make sure that we have good onboarding of our new board members. So Terry, thanks for getting that team together. And then finally, my daughter, who had my little guy, Caleb, was staying with us for a week as her husband had to go physically to Florida to try to find a job as an adult infectious disease transplant expert. So it's a little narrow widget. He's finishing up his fellowship. And fortunately, well, he's a talented guy, so he earned it, but he was able to land a position at the Cleveland Clinic outside of Miami, where my daughter actually matched to do her minimally invasive surgical fellowship for gynecology. So even though they're going to take CJ away from me, they think, we'll see, we're still negotiating for 2 years. They both are going to be gainfully employed and probably have to get a 3-bedroom place so that Mimi, Sharon, moves down there likely to help them transition in. So that's all good news and exciting. And I had the luxury of being the 6 a.m. holder for a week, although the little rascal started sleeping until 8 o'clock. So I actually was leaving work at 2 in the afternoon so I could get home and get some CJ time before he went back. Because once he starts daycare, we're not sure how we'll be able to negotiate visits, although I will share with you all that I did get my second COVID vaccine. So in another 10 days, I'll probably be in as good a shape as I'm going to be for a while. And that's a whole other story that I'll share for another time. So if we could have the speaker slide up, Cheryl. Well, our speaker really needs no introduction since he already started our program. Doug Kohl is going to represent the Akron Rotary Foundation. So he's a member of the board of directors, and he will give us, as the Club of Akron Rotary, an update and inform those of us who aren't informed. What is this 3-legged stool we have? Doug, take it away.
Thanks, Dr. Rob. Interesting how some of the previous interaction used some of my comments today. The Rotary motto, service above self, was a recent Jeopardy answer on the television show and exemplifies what Robert K. Greenleaf said. Greenleaf, author of a landmark essay on the topic of servant leadership back in 1970, said, and I quote, "Where there is not community, trust, respect, and ethical behavior are difficult for the young to learn and for the old to maintain." Well, this is the essence of Rotary. I believe that sharing some historical perspective will help us understand the big picture for our local club and the importance of our Akron Rotary Foundation's work and how it complements the work of club and camp. On an international basis, Rotary is a global community. We are a network of 1.2 million neighbors, friends, leaders, and problem solvers who see a world where people unite and take action to create lasting change across the globe, in our communities, and in ourselves. Rotary has one big, hairy, audacious cause. Rotary members believe that we have a shared responsibility to take action on our world's most persistent issues. 35,000 plus clubs work together for 6 overriding priorities: promote peace, fight disease, provide clean water, sanitation and hygiene, save mothers and children, support education, and grow local economies. The Rotary International Worldwide Mission is we provide service to others, promote integrity, and advance world understanding, goodwill, and peace through our fellowship of business, professional, and community leaders. And Rotary International's preferred vision is together we see a world where people unite and take action to create lasting change across the globe in our communities and in ourselves. So from the big picture, the macro picture, let's get local. From this worldwide purpose came the Akron Rotary Club. Founded in February of 1914, the Akron Rotary Club was the 107th club, and we had 31 charter members, including names that you would easily recognize, such as Fred Albrecht, George Billow, Thane is a 4th generation Billow in the club, Charles Knight and Bert Polsky and others. The camp, only 10 years later, in 1924, as we just discovered, 2 Akron, Ohio Rotarians saw the impact of polio on families. They had a vision of kids being kids, even when their bodies didn't work right. Hez Simmons, a rubber chemistry professor at the University of Akron, and Walter Hoyt, a local orthopedic surgeon, knew that the good that hydrotherapy and exercise could do for these, as they were called at the time, crippled children. Akron Rotarians listened, we heard their message, and Rotary made a commitment and held that first 2-week camp on the Portage Lakes at, as Dr. Rob mentioned, YMCA Camp Mudjekeewis. This camp was the predecessor of today's YMCA Camp Wainoa. In 1926, the camp moved to its current location on Rex Lake, serving children with polio and other physical problems. Today, the camp serves children with a myriad of abilities. For all these years, the camp has been giving children opportunities to succeed and grow. The camp remains the largest and most significant service project of our club. And now, the third leg of our tripod, the Akron Rotary Foundation, provides a portion of camp's annual budget, and the remaining funding for camp coming from special events, grants, and fees. The Chile Open, operated by the club, is the primary fundraiser, which, as you know, generated over $300,000 last year. Founded 31 years ago, the Chile Open continued to grow, and the club found we needed a place where charitable contributions could be made, invested, and saved for distribution. The club is a 501c4, not-for-profit, IRS designation, not a charity, and therefore unable to accept donations. So the Akron Rotary Foundation was founded on February 5th, 1992. The agent of incorporation was Jim Redmond, and Mike Sweeney of Brouse McDowell was the attorney who assembled and filed the documents with the state of Ohio that made the foundation a legally recognized 501c3 charity, able to accept donations on behalf of the club and the camp. The first trustees of the foundation were names again that some you would recognize: Don Nelson, Ron Allen, Mike Rabe, Jeff Schobert, Mark Wernig, Don Kelly, and George Rooney Jr. Rotarians Jack Herrig, Bud Rogers, Roger Reed, and others were also involved. Matter of fact, I think Jack Herrig was involved all the way back with Paul Harris when the club was founded. I'm not sure, but in 1995, the club was doing some deep thinking and long-range planning regarding the future of Rotary Camp. Rotary and the YMCA had some mutual board members. Again, names throughout our club history, people who've made an impact. Names like Dr. Steve Schmidt, Dirk Heine, Oscar Hunsaker, Kevin Snyder from Brat Martis, and me, who we worked out an agreement that would have the YMCA expand Rotary Camp to year-round operations, grow the program base, and bring the camp up to American Camping Association standards. Tony Collins was the first camp director under this agreement, and Dan Reynolds was a young counselor from Slippery Rock University that first summer of 1995. Today, your Akron Rotaries Foundation board consists of Jim Redmond, Katy Miller, Mark Krohn, Rima Muakkassa, Jeff Sitz, Julie Brandle, Marsha Holcomb, Brian Steere, and me. Longtime board member Dan Reimenschneider serves currently as a special advisor. So what's the mission statement of the Akron Rotary Foundation? Well, funding the endless impact of the Rotary Club of Akron in our community and beyond is the stated mission statement of the foundation. Since 1992, the foundation has contributed over $3.2 million to the causes that make our community a great place to live and work. The foundation is a fund established to benefit the programs of the club. The earned income and the corpus benefit the charitable causes of our club. As the foundation's assets grow, so does its ability to support in perpetuity Akron Rotary causes. Donors have two options when they give to the Akron Rotary Foundation. They can be restricted or unrestricted. Typically, people will contribute cash, appreciated assets, or include the foundation as a beneficiary in their estate plan in order to make contributions. Now this here is hot news. Just in at 11:43 a.m., Dan Reimenschneider texted me and said that today, for the first time ever, the foundation has over $2 million in assets. $2.06 million in assets for the first time in its history as of today's reckoning. Tomorrow we have our first quarterly board meeting of 2021. A few years ago, the foundation also established a $500,000 fund with the Akron Community Foundation that is dedicated exclusively to benefit camp. To break down that $3.2 million in contributions, the Rotary Camp for Children with Special Needs has received approximately $2.8 million. High school scholarships, $107,000. Barrett Academy has received a little over $163,000. And other community efforts totaled nearly $100,000 in contributions over the life of the foundation. In the winter of 2018, the foundation board interviewed members of Rotary to better understand their knowledge of the Rotary Foundation and its mission. After conducting over 70 interviews, it was discovered that while everyone knew camp and its mission, too few members were able to identify the actual purpose of the Akron Rotary Foundation. Many confuse the Akron Rotary Foundation with the Rotary International Foundation, the philanthropic vehicle of Rotary International. It focuses worldwide on the mission of RI, as previously described. Few were aware of the history of our local Akron Rotary Foundation and the many programs it supports. Discussions distilled down into discovering really what our four major focus areas of the foundation are. They are community development, youth empowerment, international understanding, and the Rotary Camp. Subheadings under those four focus areas, for instance, neighborhood improvement, the community garden and the sprinkler system installed in North Hill would be an example of community development. Enhancing partnerships that improve neighborhoods, energizing and impacting Akron community projects. The second focus area, youth empowerment. Interact, the high school leadership programs that we offer, including the program at North Hill that Steve Bowie is involved with, Rotaract, Dr. Doug and his colleagues and many students encouraging young adults to lead, the Akron Area Public School Scholarships, and of course the Rotary Youth Leadership Awards. The third focus area, international understanding. I don't know how many of you got to hear when we were still meeting the young woman from our Rotary Youth Exchange program who had such an incredible experience abroad. Also partnering with local Rotary Club and Rotary International initiatives, and of course the 6 priorities of Rotary International that I mentioned earlier. The Rotary Camp, however, is a unique priority of the foundation, and this program enjoys favored status with the foundation. At least 1/3 of all foundation earnings support the work of camp. The establishment of a foundation protects Rotary's financial assets in case of future change or in the unlikely event of catastrophic litigation. The foundation has become a safe harbor for the contributions to Rotary's important work in the local community. The board meets quarterly to discuss the opportunities for support and review financial statements and investment reports. In 2020 and previous years, here is an example, and certainly not an exhaustive list, a total list, but an example of the things that the foundation has supported in our community. Certainly grants to the Rotary Camp, but also scholarships, COVID-19 relief support, Akron Rotary Foundation support of the club, including guest lunches are paid for, the Youth Exchange, Rotary Youth Leadership Academy, the Shoebox Project. Past presidents have the ability to designate contributions, including contributions to organizations such as Life is Good No Matter What, Open M, Rahab Ministries, and Akron Snow Angels. Contributions to the Akron Urban League, the Boys and Girls Club of Western Reserve, Chemists Without Borders, Christ Child Society, our own diversity initiative has received support from the foundation, the Akron Regional Food Bank, Girl Scouts of Northeast Ohio, Great Trails Council Scouts, Rise Against Hunger, Ronald McDonald House, Shelter Care, the Well Community Development Corporation, and World Relief Akron. I hope this gives you a good perspective on the work of the foundation. I purposely mentioned many names because we all stand on the shoulders of dedicated Rotarians who have come before us. Our club is growing and will continue to do great work only through women and men who believe in our Rotary motto, service above self. Please consider including the Akron Rotary Foundation in your giving plans for 2021 and beyond. Dr. Rob, I can try to help with questions, but there are many other people more experienced than me that are joining us on this Zoom call that may be able to help during that process. Thanks for your time.
Dr. Rob, you're muted.
Oops. Sorry about that. I said, thank you, Doug. We appreciate your very nice description, very organized for us to understand that relationship. I think it is a challenge for new Rotarians to get all the information straightened because it's really a lot of similar names. And I think you did a great job of anchoring us for the foundation. The chat box has a couple of comments. Thanks, Doug. Well presented and explained. Great presentation. So lots of accolades. I don't see a lot of questions yet. Can you talk a little bit about the evolution? I know there was a time where we really had some animosity is probably a strong word, but there wasn't really an understanding that we were all in this together to do great things, and how by having the 3 legs, we can be more effective than we could without the foundation helping the camp and helping the club?
You know, I'll take a shot at this and then maybe some other folks can chip in. But being involved in the early 90s like I was, you know, I talked with Dan Reynolds, and a lot of current club members aren't aware of the fact that the camp was on really shaky ground in the late 80s and early 90s. We were actually in the process of deciding, do we keep the Rex Lake property? Do we find a new piece of property that might have more acreage? Is the camp viable? We were still struggling with older buildings that had really seen their useful life, and we needed to have that incredible capital improvement campaign that happened in the 2000s. And so there was a lot of conversation about what the future of camp, and Dan Reynolds told me that, I said, Dan, how long after you were camp director were there still conversations about do we stay, do we go, do we reorganize, do we paint a new picture? And so it was during that time that Rotarians decided to create this third leg of the triangle, right? You had the club, which couldn't accept charitable contributions. You had the camp, which we were trying to figure out its future. And so this foundation was necessary to, you know, the Chile Open was growing and really producing, it quickly surpassed $100,000. And so we needed a place to protect the money and invest it wisely and perform good stewardship with it. Jack, you know, Jack, you and Dan and Redmond, and I'm not sure if I saw that Jim Redmond was on this Zoom call today or not. You may want to add to that, but that was really the genesis of the foundation. And it was always designed to certainly support camp, but also the other community issues aspects of the club that the club was involved in.
A question came in on the chat from Tom Knauer. Doug, how does the foundation decide on who they're going to fund this year? And is there a process? Is it an application?
There's a process. I would, you know, remember most recently Claudine Schooley, who is a very experienced Rotarian, past president of her club out in California, had a wheelchair project. Well, she simply approached one of the members of the foundation board, and we vet those proposals at the quarterly meetings. I don't know, Dan, maybe you can, Dan Reimenschneider, maybe, I don't want to put you on the spot, but maybe you could address that question a little bit more thoroughly than I could.
So the foundation exists for the camp and for the club. So we have funds designated for the camp, and we have unrestricted, undesignated funds that are available for the club to make that determination. Generally, all our giving has a genesis within the club, either the president or the club board. And most recently, we've tried to be more impactful with our giving as far as doing matching type grants. So the Akron Canton Food Bank, we matched what all the Rotarians and the public, I mean, it was a public campaign on Facebook, and Christina Horak, you know, ran that and generated monies. And I think we wrote a check for $6,500 to the Akron Canton Food Bank, which is awesome. But if you think about it, we matched another $6,500. So we motivated people to give, and we, you know, we backed that up. But that was all basically done through ideas that are presented to us from the club. And whether it's an individual Rotarian like Claudine, or if it's, you know, the mass of Akron Rotary, we're trying to be a catalyst for the Akron Rotary Club to be more impactful in the community. And we also are there to support the camp. and provide them resources and backup and support.
Well, that's well articulated, Dan, and I want the members here to keep that in mind when you're doing your strategic plan breakouts, because there are some areas of our strategic plan that really talks about impact, the camp, and the rest of the Akron community. So we need to think creatively and outside the box, and we've got a partner to work with clearly, or two partners to work with.
And
I saw the question from Steve Bossert, Dr. Rob, in the comments. And I'd like to address this as a person who's been involved with philanthropy for most of his career. Steve asked the question, has the new standard deduction made it more difficult to raise funds since tax deductibility is not as important as it used to be? One of the little known facts about philanthropy is over the past 30 years, philanthropic giving has increased every year except 2008, when the bottom fell out of the housing market, and it held level that year. And so the general belief of philanthropic organizations is that people don't contribute because of the tax exempt status. They give because they believe in the purpose and cause of the organization. And so what you'll see during times like COVID-19 in the last year, you'll see giving shift, but giving will inevitably, people in the United States are incredible. Philanthropic contributions will continue to rise, but they may shift. So it may shift from one organization to another based on what's being done for vaccinations or helping people who are out of work or can't pay their rent, those types of things. But giving will continue to increase.
Thank you. That's
from a CPA perspective, people that give, my feeling is that, you're going to give to the church, you're giving to the church, whether it's going to help you tax wise or not. But certainly if you've got something that you're very passionate about, bunching your deductions into 1 year. So rather than giving $5,000 a year to the Akron Rotary Foundation, you could give $10,000 1 year and go a little light the next year. That's an approach that people can take to make their tax deductions more effective.
Pam Kiltow says donor advised funds are a great way to make large charitable donations and have it deducted and donate to the charities as you see fit.
Right.
I want to add.
I've got an observation. And this is, I think, is especially important for our newer members. If we look around and we see the divisiveness that we have in our political parties and the way we have attacked each other, and then you look at Rotary and you bring it down to the Rotary Club of Akron with 3 distinct entities whose sole purpose is to serve, and the way that they have all united, the 3 boards just together well to a common cause. And I think that those of us that have contacts with our political leaders need to share with them the way things can be done honorably, disagree, and still come up with sound solutions. And to Doug's comment on philanthropy, I have a little piece of paper on my desk that says people will give to a worthy cause. And when you've got a worthy cause, it's fun to ask people for money because you know that you're going to get a reward.
Well, thank you very much. We're out of time here today. If you can stick around, Katie, I'll get to you. I'm sorry that you didn't get your message in. As we leave, wish Thane Billow happy birthday on the 27th. John Reyes, happy birthday on the 31st. Michael Gladys, happy birthday on the 31st. And Nancy Dodgen, happy birthday on the 1st of February. Our joint anniversary, our own Laura Smiley, who was here earlier, on the 30th is 3 years. Jerome Wagner on the 1st of February is 51 years. And Tim Domenico on the 1st of February is 32 years. So please sign up for the club assembly. Sandy Narragon has allowed that survey and registration to remain live until the 28th. So that's 2 days from now at 5 p.m. So please get in and register. It's the only way we can expeditiously get us all into small groups. The majority of the meeting is going to be the small group work. We've got a pair of facilitators for each topic. That team met diligently last week, talked through issues, questions, and strategies. So they are ready for you, Akron Rotary. Get ready for them. So please join us. We look forward to it. Don't forget the Chili Open, and we will adjourn.
Hey, thanks, guys. Have a great week.
Happy birthday, buddy.
Happy birthday.
Thanks, guys.
Happy birthday.
Hey, Tom, I wanted to answer a question real quick. You asked about deciding how the foundation gives.
Yes.
And part of that also, when we looked at it a couple of years ago, was to increase the amount that the foundation gives to the president during his term to see to it that it gets to what the club is being focused on. And I believe we're up to giving that $15,000. So if Rob then decides, after hearing feedback from the club, of a special project or a special organization that needs it, Rob can decide on behalf of the club to make that donation there, and the foundation facilitates it. So it's not in the traditional form of a normal foundation where you have an application process and once a year we go through and hand out money. It's much more targeted to exactly what the club needs and what the camp needs.
Hey, Katie, thanks for that. Since that's been implemented, is the club pretty successful at settling on a cause, or do we have trouble spending that money?
There's never any trouble spending that money. The first year we did it was when Julie was president. And so it was a new concept, and maybe there was a lot more micro grants. And the purpose the foundation did this was so that we could make a big impact, with the hope being that if we made a $15,000 donation to Akron Public Schools or United Way or whatever it is, that would get us some publicity and in turn heighten our awareness, our how we're seen in the community, drive membership.
Thank you.
So I don't know that we've got that message clear to the presidents yet. Rob, you're hearing it from me now, but that was the intent on making that huge block available to the outgoing presidents.
Yeah, thanks.
So I appreciate that, Katie. And I think that that's really timely, given the fact that we are having our meeting next week, that we can look at what are the areas of impact that we can have the biggest bang for our bucks.
And of course, it's going to change year to year on according to each president's personal philanthropic sweet spot, what they feel about. A lot we've had when we've had a president that's gone recently through Leadership Akron, I've noticed the trend that it goes to some of the nonprofits that they've associated with, and that's exactly how it's supposed to be. We just really, really, really want to try and get it known to the community that we're donating it. And we seem to be losing that component of letting people know how impactful we are as a club in our Akron community. So that dovetails to next week's conversation
Absolutely. So how do we get our message out? How do we become better known for all the good work you all do already and make it count twice?
Yeah, that was the goal of increasing that give in such a substantial amount. So hopefully that helps a little bit. Since you have incoming president and you have an outgoing president, those are things that you guys should, be made aware of.
Great.
Well, Tom, put that on our Council of Presidents meeting.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would say if you needed any more clarification on that, Dan Reimenschneider would probably be your best, since he is one of us that knows most about our financial look. If you needed somebody to sit in an advisement capacity on your leadership council.
Great. Thanks, guys.
All right. You guys have a great week.